Breaking news, breaking news. Sean P. Diddy Combs' mother, Janice Combs, has finally spoken out.
What's up, Mom?
Everything's good, baby. I'm here with you.
Yeah.
I love you.
Love you too.
His life too much, and so I stepped in there to help adopt and raise.
That's what I say. Evil is everywhere. That's a public service announcement. Beware.
Okay, let's get into this because the courtroom just exploded, metaphorically, of course, and the internet is absolutely on fire. Kimora Lee is officially done staying silent. And honey, when she snapped at Janice Combs in that courtroom, the walls might as well have cracked. This isn't your typical celebrity shade. This is deep. This is personal. And it's about two innocent girls, Diddy's twins, Jesse and Delilah, who've allegedly been thrown into a life they never asked for. Word is, Kimora ripped into Janice for allegedly grooming these poor girls for that shady freak-off lifestyle Diddy's become infamous for. And the gag? Janice was apparently doing this for years, slowly bringing strange men around them, letting them witness questionable behavior and making it all seem normal. And where was Diddy in all this? Just standing back, silent, watching. Allegedly complicit. It gets worse. Jesse and Delilah, who are barely 18, are now so emotionally scarred that they're terrified at the thought of going to college. Yes, you've heard that right. They couldn't even fully enjoy their high school graduation because of the weight they've been carrying. And now, with Diddy's entire empire hanging by a thread and the feds breathing down his neck, those girls are literally facing homelessness if this man gets convicted and loses everything. But Kimora? Oh, she's not letting her best friend Kim Porter's daughters get tossed aside like garbage. She's coming for everyone who failed them, especially Janice. She's making moves, and fast. There's even buzz she's gearing up for custody. You want to know what she said about Diddy, Janice, and those girls? Buckle up.
Attention to when this lawsuit was launched is probably like a couple years ago. You'll notice that that's when all of these attacks started coming from my ex.
Let's be real for a second. Diddy might be the one technically on trial, but the entire Combs family is under the spotlight right now. And let's just say, not everybody is holding up well. The twins, Jesse and Delilah, baby, they're cracking under the pressure. They've been showing up in court, trying to play the part, acting like this is one big happy family unit. But sources close to the situation are saying that this is all PR spin, a show, chaos, pain, and trauma. It's especially devastating for the girls because the trial has exposed everything. We're talking horrifying allegations from escorts testifying under oath, spilling disturbing details about what Diddy allegedly forced them to do with Cassie during those infamous boss parties. Things got so bad, multiple kids, including Chance, Jesse, and Delilah, literally ran out of the courtroom. Imagine hearing that kind of horror about your own father. Imagine realizing he wasn't just a distant dad, he might have been a monster. And for Jesse and Delilah, it's personal on a whole other level, because as the testimony rolled out, it started to dawn on them. This is the exact life their father, and even worse, their grandmother Janice, might have been preparing them for. But girl, it was no fairy tale. It's rumored Janice was never nurturing, never gentle. Instead, she allegedly encouraged Christian to follow in his father's dark footsteps while dragging the twins into a way too adult world. And we're not talking about giving them a sip of champagne at a birthday party. We're talking about fully grown activities these girls had no business being anywhere near. And it all goes back to Janice and how she raised Diddy.
Growing up, my mother always told me that he had got killed in a car accident. I always thought there was something funny about the story because whenever I was in the street or around like street hustlers or street people, they would always try to give me money or always treat me with respect. So I was like, was my father a gangster? Why do people fear my father, fear the name? I kept on hounding my family. And nobody would really tell me. They said, you gotta really talk to your mother about it. And so my first time in college, I did the research, and the research had showed me that my father was like, his brains blowing out like on Central Park West. And my mother, I remember they said that my mother had brought me to the funeral on a full-length chinchilla. And it was like a sigh of relief, you know what I'm saying? Because I finally knew that what I was feeling was true, you know what I'm saying? That I was a son of a hustler or a gangster.
Let's rewind. Janice was married to Melvin Combs, a notorious Harlem gangster. He was known to torture people in front of his own son. That's what little Diddy was exposed to, and Janice, according to multiple sources, she didn't shield him. She was too busy being Melvin's ride or die to protect her son from trauma. She didn't even lift a finger when bigger kids bullied Diddy at school. After Melvin died, things got even worse. Janice juggled multiple jobs to make ends meet. Respectable by day as a teaching assistant and bus driver, but at night, she was allegedly working as an escort. And here's the sick part, she would sometimes bring clients into the house and let Diddy watch. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with here. No wonder Diddy ended up the way he did.
Diddy's mom is now being accused of having freak-off parties in front of Diddy when he was a kid. And honestly, now hearing this, I'm really not surprised because I always felt like Janice Combs knew more than what she is leading on. Diddy's childhood best friend is claiming that Diddy's mother, Janice Combs, would often throw wild parties at his childhood home where it wasn't uncommon to walk into a room where adults were having physical relations. Diddy's childhood friend feels like this could be a reason why Diddy found himself at the center of a federal racketeering and trafficking investigation, where he is accused of forcing his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura to participate in freak-offs. He said, "I've been asked the questions, why do you think this happened to Diddy?" And he said, "I don't know the answer to why, but I truly believe it all goes back to his childhood."
Diddy even admitted in the past that he developed a porn addiction at a young age and lost his virginity at 12. That's right, 12. Just let that sink in.
This was the first time when I was 12. I used to watch this thing called Midnight Blue. It's like this porno channel here in New York. So the first time I had sex, I wasn't scared. I remember it felt so good to me.
And it just keeps spiraling. The internet's buzzing with rumors that Diddy and Janice's relationship is, let's just say, uncomfortably close. There's even disturbing chatter that Janice was the one who introduced her son to these underground freak-off parties, and that they regularly took part in joint activities. Gross, right? People are still traumatized over a resurfaced video of Diddy kissing Janice on the mouth, but that wasn't even the worst part. In the video, both of them are hooked up to IV bags talking about recharging. Sound familiar? Because Cassie testified that Diddy used to hook her up to IVs to help her recover from days-long freak-off sessions. And guess what? Janice was wearing white nail polish in that clip. Cassie also said Diddy made her wear white or French tips. He had a fetish for contrast when it came to the escort's hands and the men they were forced to entertain. It's as if every sick, twisted behavior Diddy developed came directly from his mother. But wait, it gets darker. You know how Diddy's sons Justin and Christian have also been pulled into this mess? Yeah, turns out they're named in lawsuits too. Christian even has a separate case against him with allegations eerily similar to what's been said about Diddy. Like father, like son? Seems like that tree didn't fall far at all. And the twins, these poor girls, were right in the middle of this twisted world. People close to the family say that Janice wasn't just helping out after Kim died, she was training Jesse and Delilah, getting them ready like assets. So when the girls ran out of that courtroom sobbing, it wasn't just from the horror of hearing what their dad allegedly did, it was the realization this could have been US. And now, that trauma is weighing them down. They've announced they're not going to college. Not because they don't have dreams, but because they can't emotionally handle the idea of being around other students, dealing with judgment, rumors, whispers, and their father's name hanging over their heads like a storm cloud. But through all this, they have one guardian angel. Kimora. So now we get to the heart of it. Kimora Lee Simmons, a woman of power, class, and fierce loyalty. And when it comes to Kim Porter's children, she is going to war. Let's rewind a little. After Kim Porter tragically passed away, Kimora made a public vow to protect her best friend's babies, all of them. In her emotional tribute, she didn't just cry pretty tears. She laid down a promise that the world saw and felt. She said, "At your homegoing celebration today, it became all too real that you are not coming back. I cannot stop crying, but I will be strong for you. We are and will always be a family. I will look after yours and you will look after and guide us all." That wasn't just words. Kimora meant it. But what came next was pure sabotage, because Diddy and Janice allegedly worked overtime to keep her out of the twins' lives. They knew what would happen if Jesse and Delilah spent even one afternoon around Kimora. The truth would start unraveling. The girls would ask questions. They would remember their mother, the real mother, and not the version they've been force-fed, According to sources, Diddy and Janice made it their mission to cut Kimora off. They instructed their house staff not to allow her visits. They even tried to stop Kimora's own children from hanging out with the twins. Who does that? But it didn't stop there. Kimora was threatened, bullied, harassed. So much so, she had to completely disappear from social media for a while.
You know, I'm not really sure, but I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot. Again, like, I'm sitting here with my kids in my house. Easy to find me, not running, not hiding, not, you know, not doing any of that. And so to have these constant attacks is just kind of crazy.
Just days after that cryptic post, Kimora's home mysteriously caught on fire. And this wasn't just a freak accident. She and her children were inside when the flames broke out. Thankfully, they escaped unharmed, but the message couldn't have been louder. Somebody didn't want her digging around in Diddy's skeleton closet. Somebody didn't want her speaking out. Someone wanted her silenced.
Young Kimora Lee Simmons' house then caught on fire, and people are blaming Diddy. We put the word out on, said, be careful, Kimora. We warned her, and Lord, her house actually caught on fire. This is amazing. Keep an eye out.
And Kimora, she wasn't new to this. Back in 2004, she told New York Magazine that Diddy had threatened to hit her while she was pregnant. Yep, you read that right, pregnant, in public. According to the article, she said something that Diddy didn't like and he lost it. He threatened violence in front of witnesses. He later dropped to his knees and apologized right in the middle of a public space. But Kimora never forgot. She knew what he was capable of. And now that the whole world is watching Diddy unravel in court, Kimora is stepping back in, ready to protect, ready to fight. Because the reality is, she's the only consistent female protector those twins have left. And her bond with Kim Porter, unshakable. But Janice? Oh, Janice isn't giving up control that easily. Rumors are swirling that she's still trying to block Kimora from getting close to Jesse and Delilah. Can you imagine? Even after all of this, she allegedly still wants to maintain her grip on those girls. Why? Maybe because she's afraid. Maybe because if the girls spend real time with Kimora, they'll remember who they really are. Maybe they'll finally ask the hard questions about their mother's death. Maybe they'll start to wonder what really happened. Because let's not forget, people have been whispering for years that Kim Porter's death was not as straightforward as it seemed. And maybe, just maybe, Jesse and Delilah are beginning to suspect that too. Maybe they've started connecting the dots. The pain, the confusion, the secrets, all of it. And Kimora, she's not just some random celebrity bestie. She's their second mother. She watched them grow. She knew their mom like a sister. She has love that's real. And unlike Diddy or Janice, she has nothing to gain from exposing the truth, except the safety and peace of those two young girls. The big question. So now the streets are asking, is Kimora going to try and get legal custody of the twins? Sources say she's not backing down. Not this time. She's had enough. Enough of being bullied. Enough of seeing those girls manipulated. Enough of the silence. And she has support from the public, from former friends of Kim, from everyone who's been watching this madness unfold and is now saying, let those girls go, let them heal. Because here's the truth. Diddy's empire is collapsing fast. The feds are circling, lawsuits are multiplying, every dirty secret is crawling into the light and in the rubble. The only thing that matters now is the children who have been hurt, damaged, and discarded in the name of fame and power. Janice Combs might have thought she could hide behind a grandmother's smile, but not anymore. Kimora snapped in court for a reason. She wanted the world to see Janice for who she really is. She wanted to make it clear, you don't get to raise these girls in trauma and walk away untouched. Not on my watch. The courtroom was stunned. Janice allegedly looked shook. People in the gallery said the energy shifted. You could feel the shame dripping off her. But Kimora didn't flinch, not once, because when you mess with a mother's love, even one by choice, not blood, you better be ready for war. The ending nobody saw coming, so now we wait. Will Kimora step up legally and take the twins in? Will the court finally investigate Janice's alleged involvement in the trauma these girls endured? Will Jesse and Delilah find healing and safety away from the public eye? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure. Kimora Lee Simmons has drawn the line, and from this moment on, the world is watching what happens to those girls. Because this isn't just some messy Hollywood scandal. This is about children, family, and the fight to undo years of pain. So what do you think? Should Kimora take the twins in? Should Janice be held accountable alongside Diddy? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this story is far from over.